The notion that people only get defensive when accused of things they actually did is bullshit. Title says it all. When my parents accused me of doing something wrong that I didn't do, I would get defensive and say, no, you're wrong. Somehow they used that as evidence that I did indeed do whatever they accused me of. I would just be like, what do they think I would say when I'm not guilty? Did they think I would confess? Did they think people would be calm and rational when accused of doing something they didn't do, especially if it's a serious allegation? I'm being defensive because I didn't fucking do it. An ex of mine used to accuse me of cheating on her frequently, turned out she was the one cheating. I used to lie a lot when I was younger. Now that I'm older and don't lie, I get extremely nervous and over-explain everything when answering accusatory questions cause I don't want to seem like I'm lying, which I think just makes me look more like I'm lying. I remember one incident from the time I was in a foster home. I don't remember exactly what it was, but the parents found something on the ground that was all torn up or broken or something, and they started looking at me with looks of disgust. Later, after I got out of the shower, they yelled at me for wrecking it. I don't even know how or why they had the idea that I, out of the 6 kids there, was to blame, but they insisted that it was me. I got defensive, but they decided to use that as proof that I did it. This is only an extremely minor incident that happened while I was there, but me and my brothers were eventually pulled from that hole for reasons I don't fully know, but that's another story. Psychology tells us that when someone is accused of something that they didn't do, they get defensive. So yes, Op is right, and there is scientific backing for your opinion. There is no defense that will ever be good enough for people that think you've done it, none. Only way to win the game is not to play. Walk off and refuse to participate. I'm a former police officer and have had a boatload of training on conduction interrogations that are filled with this kind of nonsense. Like an innocent person will never, fill in the blank. Except that it all totally ignores that there are no rules on how a guilty or innocent person are going to react/behave when arrested and accused of a crime. I personally get defensive when I'm accused of anything. People still seem to live by playground psychology. I got pretty defensive when I got accused of rape, by a girl who I had never seen before. She was accusing me of raping her. People want to act like they're fucking detectives, but in reality most people have shitty detective skills. Jesus, I hate this with a passion. Mom, you steal my money. Me, how could accuse me of stealing from you? Mom, you angrily denied, you must have done it. I listen to a lot of criminal interrogation videos, and from what I understand, the way the interrogators talk about it from time to time, people who are innocent are the ones that become defensive, whereas the ones that are guilty downplay their reaction due to anticipating the questioning. The innocent are more often surprised/shocked, where the guilty are more likely to be prepared. Do it to them when they did something wrong. Hey dad, did you do this? What son? I would never do anything like that. I dunno dad, you're being really defensive. OMG, I relate. It's like people expect you to not get mad for being wrongly accused. It's a shitty thing for people to think we should react any other way. Fact. Here's my 2 cents. I left a job because my reaction to a false accusation was calm and collected, instead of irate and inflamed. An employee, 3 years tenure, got caught manipulating the company's performance evaluation software, so he always scored exceptional. Once he was discovered, the firm fired him that day. For some reason, this employee completed an exit interview with HR where he said that I discovered the vulnerability and told him how to exploit it. Which was a lie. I barely knew the dude besides the occasional break room banter, man the weather is great today / we're out of napkins, etc. I was called into the conference room by HR, a few days later, and when I walked into the room the entire executive team was there. They told me what he said and they asked me to be honest with them. I told them the truth and explained I had nothing to do with it and asked what proof they had that warranted this meeting besides the opinion of a fired employee. I was calm and cool because I knew I hadn't done anything to sacrifice my reputation or integrity. They had no proof that I did anything and said that it didn't matter because if I could manipulate that system I could have hidden my tracks just as well. I laughed and thanked them for the faith in my capabilities and repeated that I had nothing to do with it. The EVP lost his shit and said, "Look at you. You're guilty." An honest man would be upset about the accusation alone. I sat quietly until he finished and then informed them all that I had nothing to be upset about because I didn't do anything and they had no proof that I did, so the meeting was technically moot. As I left, I asked the other VP, "Someone told me you shot JFK, is that true?" The VP replied, "Of course not, don't be ridiculous," to which I replied, "I don't believe you an honest man would be upset about based on the accusation alone," and walked out. I stayed for a few months after that and I resigned for a better position. I have no obligation to respond in a manner that complies with your expectations of what an innocent or guilty person does. When someone accuses you of something, absolutely anything you do or say will be used as evidence against you. Like in that joke where the wife confronts the husband that there's no female hair on his work clothes, ergo he's cheating on her with some bald bitch. It kinda reminds me of the false notion that a straight guy is only defensive about his sexuality if he's actually gay. If someone spreads false information about you, you would get very defensive too. I'm gay, by the way. Yep, was recently called a bigot on Reddit, which I'm not, because I didn't like a Democratic candidate, so I was called a bigot. I said, "Nope, I'm not, just don't like M for X and Y reason." Them, "Whoa, super defensive, you must be a mega bigot." So I'm either a bigot to begin with, and if I object I'm also a bigot, so there is no winning. Cool. I'm glad the person got to show the world how woke they are because they called me a bigot like 15 times though, that's all that matters.